Good evening, it's LaurieAnn again. Okay, so tonight I was thinking, I'm wearing my son's lacrosse shirt. He played lacrosse for quite a few years. This year he took off, which was kind of a little bit disappointing because I love going to see his games, but it's okay. Hopefully next summer he'll play. So, my story tonight is, I was wondering how many of you guys out there are doing what you actually thought you were going to do as a kid? Like literally. Like when I was, or even as a teenager. So like my thoughts as a teenager was I was going to be an architect. I was never going to get married. I was going to be driving a Porsche. I was going to have a really nice house on the water that I designed. And then, then I went to university, and then I thought, like changes. And I think that a lot of our kids are going through that as well. But we did too. Like, was one thing to another. So first an architect, then my dad says, no, don't get into architecture. It's awful. He was in it for 4 years and then took engineering. So then they thought, well, maybe I should be a lawyer. So I went to university, took art history as a prerequisite to that. That didn't work out either. Ultimately, I wanted to be a journalist. So after my university, I took journalism, and I was never a journalist either. Although the skills are good because that helped me in my marketing, writing my stories, and I actually did some ghostwriting for some of my bosses. But ultimately then, I fell in love, which I never thought I was going to do. Then I got married, and then my business that I had built, which was a literary agency, was closed down because then followed that. And then I got pregnant. I never wanted children. I had 3. So basically what I'm saying is, how many of you out there thought this was going to be the way it was, and then all of a sudden everything's changed? I was just watching this one little clip, Goldwaith. It was on burglar, and it's just wonderful. He says, when I was 5, I said, "Daddy, Daddy," and if you've got to look at that scene, I actually posted it on my Facebook. It's hilarious. There is some vulgar language, sorry, but we've all heard it. But it's great. I mean, it's just one of those parts that I thought, yeah, like I said, what did I say, when I was 5 years old? Daddy, Daddy, I want to be a service advisor at a dealership. And never in my life, never would I've ever thought this is where I would end up. One thing that has been consistent in my life, though, is I've been, and hello everybody, Jeannie, Rob, Chrissy, Rob, Rod. The one thing that I thought was interesting was the thing that I have kept doing is that I did write a book. I keep writing, which is part of my journalism, and also I've always loved marketing, so I keep doing that as well. And computers have been something that since they came out I've always been a part of. I've always been building websites, even when it was like Hot Dog. I don't know if anybody remembers that. And you're sitting there doing the programming of HTML on one, and then you have to check it out on the other, and our screens were old. I mean, it's just amazing how many things have changed. But yeah, my question is, how many of you out there are doing what you actually set out to do when you were young? Now, one thing I do remember, too, though, is that having my own business, I think, was something in my blood. I mean, when I was 7, my friend and I, we'd go to the, when they put the garbage on the curb, well, we would pick items, and then we'd go door to door trying to sell them. And then when I was 12 and 13 in London, Ontario, we used to build, it was actually Kathy Burgoyne and I, we used to actually put together like haunted houses and fairs in the backyard, and we would charge for them. We would see how much money there was left. It was never a lot, but it was part of, I think, what built that entrepreneurial spirit in me. So I'm still going. I mean, right now I'm taking a bit of a break because after I had my auto repair shop and it closed down, I decided, you know what, maybe it's time to get a paycheck for a while, put some money away so that, maybe I can retire someday. But in the interim, I keep going. So for any of you out there, I'm curious if you want to post what you thought you were going to be, where you thought you were going to go, or if you are doing what you want to do. I mean, there's some of them, and some of us are doing, like me, I've followed through on part of my life that's continued, and it's been a continual basis for me. But there's another side of me that I never thought I would be there. So anyway, that's my question tonight, and that's what I'm speaking about tonight. And I will be back again tomorrow night. Not quite sure I'll be talking about, but that was one thing that I thought was interesting. And I'm not sure if all the changes in my life occurred because I moved so many times. I mean, from, went from Montreal to London, Ontario, no, sorry, Montreal to Turkey, to London, Ontario, back to Montreal, out to Edmonton, then back to Toronto, and then down to Reno, and it's like, so maybe all that movement maybe just didn't keep me set in one set path, but regardless of that, I'm still determined to have my own business, and that's how I'm going to retire, doing what I love to do. So anyway, everybody out there, I look forward to reading your comments, and I will see you tomorrow. Bye.